Welcome to rSlash, Am I the Butthole, where OP gets her high school teacher fired. Am I the butthole for calling out a secretary and threatening to report her to her manager after she revealed health information? I got a needle stick injury at work. I'm a healthcare worker, and my family doctor filled out a lab questionnaire for baseline blood work to be done. One of the tests is an HIV test. I went to an external lab to get it done because my family doctor's office is closed. It's a typical diagnostics lab. There were 5 other people sitting down in the waiting area. I go to the secretary and hand her the required forms. She takes them, checks me in, and I sit down. After 10 minutes, she calls me back, calling out my first name and saying, "Ma'am, there's an issue with your HIV test form." Everybody in the waiting area heard and gave me looks. I go up to her very angry and told her that you can't just announce people's personal health information like that. She says, "Oh, it's okay. You're getting tested just because of a workplace injury." I told her that's fine, but other people don't know that. What if I had to get tested for HIV for a more personal reason? What if somebody who knew me was in the waiting area and heard that I was getting tested? She apologized, but I told her that I'll be calling her manager and informing them of the incident. She rolled her eyes and said, "Go ahead," in a mocking tone. I told my husband what happened, and he said maybe I should have cut her some slack. But I told him that revealing personal health information is a huge violation. It's something that was drilled into me as a healthcare worker. I'm just appalled that the secretary was so blasé about it. I don't care if she gets reprimanded or loses her job. This is not something to mess around with. Am I the butthole? OP, considering the fact that you're a healthcare worker, I'm surprised you're even posting here. You yourself know how big of a deal this is. The only thing I would say is, don't call her manager, because what's he gonna do, give her a slap on the wrist? No, what you should actually do is file an official HIPAA complaint. HIPAA is a big deal in the US, and this was a crystal clear violation of HIPAA regulations. So if you file a HIPAA complaint, that office is gonna get slapped with a major fine, and I can guarantee they're gonna take your complaint seriously. Also, it stands to reason that if she doesn't respect your medical privacy, then she probably won't respect other people's medical privacy either. So by reporting this woman, you'd be potentially protecting the privacy of other people who also use that lab services. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. The secretary gets 3 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for reporting my teacher and potentially getting him fired? I'm a 16-year-old girl, and my school requires us to keep our laptop cameras on during our online classes. If we need to use the restroom, we're supposed to privately message our teacher and ask to leave. I have absolutely no issue with these rules, as I understand that online teaching is hard and you have to make sure everyone is attentive during classes. Our school also has this system where, at the end of the week, every student is emailed a Google document in which we're supposed to type out any problems we had with classes during the week. For example, if a teacher is favoring a student. On Thursday, I had a math class taught by Mr. T. He's never really been very strict, and it always seemed quite reserved and quiet. Of course, I've never been in a lesson with him outside of online school, so I can't really judge. During class, I realized that I started my period. I privately messaged Mr. T asking if I could use the restroom. I waited for 10 minutes, but he didn't reply, so I messaged him again, still no reply. By now, I was getting extremely uncomfortable, so I texted him for the 3rd time, explaining that I'd started my period and I really had to go. He replies with this message: "You should have planned better. Learn to control yourself." What? I can't control my period. I tried to explain that I couldn't control that, but he didn't respond. I got annoyed and switched off my camera anyways and left to go to the bathroom. Once I came back, I saw that he had kicked me out of the meeting. I later found out that he had written me up for switching off my camera and I was given a warning. I was pissed. Since it was a Thursday, I received the email with the Google document and I complained about Mr. T in it. Today, I found out through my mother, who's also a teacher, that Mr. T is being investigated, as there have been multiple complaints about his behavior and mine was apparently the last straw. My dad, brother, and a few of my friends are calling me the butthole because I could have just waited for a while instead of complaining and potentially making a man lose his job, especially during such tough times. I don't know, I'm feeling really guilty about this now. I don't want him to lose his job. Am I the butthole? OP, let's be crystal clear here. You're not the one making him lose his job. He's the one making him lose his job. The only thing that you did was report what happened to you to the authorities. If they investigate and then decide that he did something wrong, then that's on him, not on you. Also, what kind of grown man scolds a teenage girl in school because she has her period? OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your teacher gets 2 out of 5 buttholes. Your dad and your brother also get 2 out of 5 buttholes. In my opinion, if a teacher is punishing teenage girls for having their period, then they deserve to be fired. Sorry, not sorry. Am I the butthole for telling my mom that I'm not an aunt and I'm not going to pretend just for her? I'm a 20-year-old woman and my mom married my stepdad when I was 7 and my stepsister was 6. You might think that after all these years we'd be good, but nope. My stepsister was such an effing nightmare to deal with, and she only got worse after her dad took custody of her from her mom when she was 13. She wasn't just awful to me either. She smashed up the collection of photos that my mom had of her brother who died when they were kids. And my stepsister made sure that those photos could not be salvaged. She broke something valuable that our grandma owned. As for me, she would spit in my pillow so I couldn't sleep on it. She would tell me to give her my stuff. So when I got a phone, she demanded that I give it to her. If I was eating a chocolate bar, she would want it. Her dad at one point put her in therapy 3 times a week, and he would punish the hell out of her for stuff like spitting and breaking stuff. One time when we were 15 and 16, we both got in trouble because she tore the photo I had in my bedroom of my dad and my grandparents. And she smeared food all over the torn fragments, and I lost it. I told her that she effing sucked, and I was so glad that she wasn't my real sister because I would never want to be family with someone as unlovable as her. That I never hated someone as much as her, and my life would be so much better without her in it. After that, things were very different. My mom said that she understood that I was upset, but that I should never say such cruel things to someone. She encouraged me to apologize and say that I hadn't meant those things, but I had. My stepdad and I had gotten along okay up to that point, but after what I said, that was a step too far for him, which I understand. We pretty much just coexisted after that. We had therapy as well. My mom and my stepdad were invested in therapy, but my stepsister and I were just not interested in repairing things. For me, they were just never good to begin with. Now I live with some friends and I live pretty far away from my mom. My stepsister recently moved back in with them after she had a baby, and my mom has tried to convince me that this is the perfect time to put the past in the past and move forward. She's brought up me being an aunt many times before. And I know that my stepsister wants me to become an aunt because she sent me a video via my mom's Facebook saying that she's forgiven me for what I said and was ready to move forward. I got pretty tired of my mom calling me an aunt, so I told her I wasn't an aunt. I told her I have no siblings, so I can't be an aunt. My mom told me that it was childish of me to say that when everyone else was ready to move on. I told her it wasn't. That I'd never grown to care about my stepsister, and I didn't want to be in her life or have her in mine, and her kid was an extension of that. My mom is mad at me for saying that and for still being so stubborn. So, am I the butthole? Oh, so your stepsister has forgiven you, but she hasn't apologized for any of the things that she did as a kid? OP, you are not the butthole. I don't blame you for cutting her out of your life. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your sister 3 out of 5 buttholes. I think I'll give your parents 1 out of 5 buttholes because I definitely can't blame them for trying to repair the family, but at the same time, they're just not respecting your wishes. Am I the butthole for telling my cousin, at least I know that my parents wanted me when she kept making comments about me not being family? Some backstory. I'm a 17-year-old girl, and I was adopted when I was 3 months old. My cousin, a 17-year-old girl, is my grandparents' only biological grandchild, and she seems to be the only one who actually cares about that. She doesn't like me because I got a full scholarship to a performing arts school and she didn't get accepted. And when my grandpa gave us his cars, I got the quote, better one. We had a family dinner last week and my grandparents asked me about my boyfriend. My grandma jokingly asked when we're getting married because she wants a great-grandchild. I laughed and said it'll be a while, and my cousin cut in and said, "They probably want a real great-grandchild anyway." I brushed it off and kept talking to my grandma. When we were about to have dessert, my grandpa realized that he forgot to get ice cream and he asked me to drive into town to buy some. My cousin made another comment about how she's the only real family member, so she should have gotten the good car. My grandpa told her to shut up and that I got the newer car because I help them out and come to visit them almost every day, and she doesn't. After dessert, my grandpa said that we should take my younger sister to the backyard to teach her how to drive the golf cart. I agreed, and I told my younger sister that I used to drive that thing into town to run errands all the time when I was her age. My grandpa then told her that maybe if she likes driving it, he'll give it to her. My cousin lost it. She started screeching that it's not fair that we get everything when we're not even their real family. That pissed me off because she said it in front of my adopted younger sister, who's 4, and it made her cry. So I snapped at her and said, "At least we know that our family wanted us." My cousin screamed and stormed off, and my sisters got more ice cream. My grandparents think that was hilarious, and I was totally in the right. My dad also thinks that I'm right, but my mom thinks that was mean and I should apologize, so I wanted to know if I was the butthole. This is just yet another example in a long list of stories where bullies can dish it out, but they can't take it in return. Your cousin was trash-talking you and your younger sisters non-stop, but the second that you give it back to her, she starts whining and moaning about how it's unfair? Give me a break. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. If anything, it's commendable that you stood up for your younger sister. Your cousin, on the other hand, gets 3 out of 5 buttholes. If she's angry at your grandparents for not giving her more free stuff, then why is she taking that out on you and your younger sister? Trashing on you, in addition to a 4-year-old girl for being adopted, is just needlessly cruel and heartless. Based on how she acts in this story, your cousin's lucky she got anything from your grandparents at all. Am I the butthole for proving my mom was being a hypocrite? My mom behaves very differently between my sister and I. My sister is 16 and I'm a 15-year-old girl. My sister is a double D who has curves and a butt, and I'm a freaking rectangle that looks like a 10-year-old boy. Whenever my sister wears a V-neck or a low-cut shirt or shorts that don't go down to her fingertips, my mom calls her a trashy whore and says that she needs to start respecting herself and not keep trying to get the attention of boys. I can wear whatever the hell I want, and my mom just doesn't care. I bought a crop top that was barely longer than my bra and a skirt that barely covered my butt, and my mom complimented my outfit. Then my sister walked out in shorts and a t-shirt, and my mom called her a slut. It's starting to get warm, so my sister and I started taking out our summer clothes a little early, and my mom has been riding my sister again. So my sister and I decided to go shopping, and we bought the exact same shirt and shorts. We agreed to wear them the next day to see what my mom would do. This morning when we walked out of our rooms, my mom complimented my outfit and said that I looked cute, and she suggested a makeup look that I do a lot to match it. Then she looked at my sister and called her a slut, and she said that nobody's going to respect her if she keeps showing off her body like that. My sister pointed out that I was wearing the exact same outfit, and my mom said, "That can't be possible. Hers is so much less trashy." So my sister and I pulled out the receipts to show that they were the exact same shirt and shorts. My mom stormed off and won't talk to us. Our dad thinks that she deserved it, but he says that we should apologize to keep the peace, so we wanted to know if we were being the buttholes. In what way are you the butthole by wearing matching outfits? That's literally all you did. You wore the same shirt and shorts, and then when you came out, your mom made a fool of herself. Also, OP, I specifically wanted to cover this story because I want you to know that it is not normal for a mother to call her daughter a slut. That is 100% emotional abuse. Down in the comments, I really love this reply from OXME. Not the butthole. Let me get this straight. Your mom is trying to keep your sister safe from sexual harassment by sexually harassing her? Not to mention this is a massive double standard. Your 16-year-old sister has a right to be comfortable. And if your mom wants to pretend that she's trying to send signals when she isn't, then that sounds like mom's problem. And your dad's attitude is, just appease the tyrant. WTF? I agree. OP, you and your sister get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your mom gets 3 out of 5 buttholes, and your dad gets 1 out of 5 butthole. Am I the butthole for walking out after being told that one kid that I was babysitting was autistic and another kid had a deathly food allergy? I'm a 16-year-old girl and I babysit on weekends for some extra money. I used to babysit for this one lady Diana and her 2 kids every day over the summer while Diana worked. Diana's kids are a 1-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy. Diana texted me last week and asked if she could give her friend, Jennifer, who has 2 kids, a 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl, my number, because it was her husband's birthday and they wanted to go out. I said sure, and Jennifer texted me asking about my rates, references, when I was trained in CPR, and a lot of other questions. Not gonna lie, it felt kinda weird to me, but some people are overprotective, so I just went with it. Yesterday I go to Jennifer's house and they left money for us to order food. And right before they walked out the door, Jennifer handed me an EpiPen and said, "My 6-year-old son is deathly allergic to peanuts, and my 4-year-old daughter is autistic and has sensory issues, so get her some chicken nuggets." It took a second for me to process that, but I gave back the EpiPen and said, "I'm sorry, but I'm not equipped to take care of your kids," and I left. Well, Jennifer is mad that I ruined their night and has been talking trash about me to Diana. But once Diana heard the real story from me, she apologized and said that she talked to Jennifer. Nah, OP, Jennifer tried to pull the classic bait and switch on you, and you weren't falling for it. We know that she was trying to pull a fast one on you because she waited until the last possible moment to tell you both about the autism and the EpiPen. So good on you, OP. I think that a lot of 16-year-olds would have just let the adults walk over them, but you maintained your boundaries and stood your ground, so I'm impressed. You get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Jennifer gets 2 out of 5 buttholes. That was rSlash AmITheButthole, and if you like this content, check out my Patreon where I publish extra episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.